Why he's hanging around Puffy and them, I don't know. I never heard of him trying to be in the rap world. Him and that dude Vontae Sweet are both gay. You can look at the pictures that they taken together. Look at this picture with these two. Those niggas are zesty.
You know, that he would hire these like workers and like they would have, you know, with her or whatever, and he would watch and tell them what to do.
But I'm sure they're gonna be shutting up Lil Rod real soon. They're gonna be giving up some money to Lil Rod real soon.
Girl, Young Miami is out for blood when it comes to Diddy, cause why is homegirl spilling all his secrets? I swear every single time we think that this drama can't possibly get any worse, something pops up. And now it's Young Miami coming out to claim that Cuba allegedly helped Diddy plan his freak-offs and even led them. Young Miami and Diddy are on the outs, and they have been since the lawsuit started, and word on the streets is that Diddy cut her off financially after she abandoned him. When you add that to how she got exposed for his S-worker, well, you kinda understand why she is now spilling this tea. And baby, she did not just spill the tea, she came with the entire teapot because she has stories for days about Diddy and his freak-offs, and y'all will not believe the wild stories she's saying.
Not want to actually speak out and actually keep it as real as you kept it in these interviews?
There have been days where I thought to myself, maybe it's just too much trouble.
Oh.
And then I remember, that's my purpose. And that's their purpose.
Okay, so as y'all probably know, Diddy found himself knee-deep in trouble recently, with lawsuits popping up from every direction. And guess who's been right there alongside him? Young Miami, that's who. But now it looks like she is turning against Diddy because she is now dishing out some juicy gossip about Diddy's escapades in the celebrity world. Brace yourselves, because she dropped a name you wouldn't expect to be tangled up with Diddy, Cuba Gooding Jr. Apparently, he might have been in cahoots with Diddy, planning out all of his freaky adventures. Diddy has been in a hot mess since Cassie filed the first lawsuit in November last year, and then there were 3 more women who came forward. Then we had Lil Rod, who was a producer on his last album, Love Off the Grid, came up with some insane allegations and also filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of some really horrible stuff. The lawsuit led to a raid on Diddy's houses by Homeland Security, but Diddy has maintained his innocence throughout. After the raid, his lawyers came out to slam the feds and claimed that they were just piling on Diddy and trying to cause drama for Diddy and ruin his public image. His lawyer said, "This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name." A federal officer replied to this and said, "We believe that there is a disturbing history of S-trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on." Rod spilled the beans in the lawsuit, and according to the lawsuit, Jones lived with Diddy from September 2022 to September 2023, while they were working on Diddy's Love album, and according to him, he saw some really crazy things during the time they lived together. Rod claimed in the lawsuit that he wasn't just mixing beats, D. Diddy also tried to mix him as well, if you get my drift. I'm talking hours and hours of some seriously inappropriate stuff that he was forced to endure because he was working for Diddy. He talked about how Diddy would allegedly try to SA him, how Diddy had young girls at his parties and allegedly spiked their drinks, how Young Miami watched this happen, and she did nothing to help or stop Diddy's actions. Don't even get me started on how he claimed that Diddy allegedly made Young Miami's cousin SA her, even though the cousin was luckily unsuccessful. But according to Lil Rod, the cousin was not the only one who Diddy tried to force to SA him, because he also tried to make Cuba Gooding SA him as well, allegedly. It got to a point where Lil Rod felt like Diddy was trying to groom him and pimp her out to other men in the industry. Chile, even Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, spoke on this drama and pretty much said the same thing.
So I could see with a person like Lil Rod, he probably was roughing them up, grabbing them, groping them, you know what I'm saying, acting like he playing with them, but he actually want him to do what he want him to do.
So the horseplay was his way of grooming you in a sense.
Well, that grooming, that's some new shit. You know what I'm saying? We didn't call it grooming back then. That his horseplay was a way of letting you know I could really hurt you if I wanted to. You get it? I could really hurt you. And that's what that kid probably felt. Yo, why he doing me like that? Oh, he just playing with you. No, he was letting you know, if I turn this up, I could really hurt you.
And that was his way of trying to get you to be submissive to him.
Right. He's letting you know, he's putting in your mind, listen here, bro. He's trying to put in his mind, we're playing now. But if I really want to turn this shit up on you, it's on.
According to Rodney, he tried to confront Diddy about his creepy behavior, but Diddy just brushed it off, claiming it was all just horseplay. He denied any sinister intentions, insisting that Rodney was reading too much into things. Rod also said that Diddy went as far as directly propositioning him, even promising to secure him the title of Producer of the Year at the upcoming Grammy Awards. But it didn't end there. Rodney claimed that Diddy made him watch videos of producer Stevie J getting into some compromising situations, engaging in some intimate activities with another guy. And the craziness didn't stop there. He alleged that Diddy's Miami mansion was the venue for some seriously wild parties with all sorts of shady stuff going down. Rodney even suspects that he might have been drugged and taken advantage of at one of these parties. Now, I can't say for certain if it's true, but it's definitely suspicious, especially since other women who sued Diddy have made similar claims. The court documents said, on or about February 2, 2023 incident, Mr. Jones believes Mr. Combs drugged him. Mr. Jones recalls waking up naked, dizzy, and confused. He was in bed with 2 S workers and Mr. Combs. He also recalls aimlessly wandering around the house with no clothes on. Lil Rod also name-dropped one of the men that Diddy was trying TP pimp him out to, and it's none other than Cuba Gooding. Speaking of Cuba, TMZ reported that Jones claims Diddy introduced him to Cuba Gooding Jr. on Diddy's yacht, and Cuba allegedly began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, also had something to say about Diddy and Cuba.
And me looking at this lawsuit, he's also, alleging that he met Cuba Gooding Jr. through Diddy on Diddy yacht. And it even got to a point where he started touching him on his, upper inner thigh near his groin, according to him.
Did you see the picture?
Nah, I didn't get to see it, but
Oh my God. Yo, listen to me, man. I don't know if it was what they call it when you take 2 pictures and they put it together and stuff like that. What they call it when they put the pictures together and it don't belong together, but they put it together. Whatever.
Side by side.
Yeah, whatever they call that. Cuban Gooding Jr. was so close to that man. I would thought that was his lady.
This is the picture that Gene was referring to, and yeah, it does look kinda sus. Gene also hinted that Diddy might have put the idea in Cuba's head that Lil Rod was fresh meat.
So you seeing on pictures, do you believe his claims?
Yeah, I believe his claims. If somebody put something in Cuban Gooding Jr. ear that this was fresh meat, or see can you break him, or see can you do something? Cause don't no other man be that close to no another man, for that reason. Come on, bro. That's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. The part about Cuba was not really shocking considering his past, and he was rumored to be a constant face at Diddy's parties, and y'all know what has been rumored to happen at Diddy's parties. And when I talk about Cuba's past, I'm referring to the part where he has been accused multiple times in the past for acting inappropriately toward women in the past. He has been accused of SA more times than we can count, so it's not surprising that he and Diddy are besties. Birds of a feather and all that messy stuff. The wild part about this is that Cuba used to have an excellent career in Hollywood back in the 90s, and at some point he even had his cherry pick of roles. He cemented his place in the industry when he won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in the 1996 hit movie Jerry Maguire. Now, people had different opinions on whether or not he deserved to win, but he won and he was on top of his career. After his Oscar win, Cuba felt like he was on top of the world and he got picky with his roles, and technically he could. However, his friend director Cameron Crowe saw that Cuba was taking this too far, and he gave him a good piece of advice, warning him to maintain good relationships with directors and producers. That way, he could stay on top of the game. But Cuba was still reading high on his Oscar wave and didn't listen to Cameron's advice. He decided to do things his own way, which turned out to be the worst decision of his career. Well, at least one of the worst. After winning the Oscar, Cuba found himself flooded with some of the biggest roles to pick and choose from. But somehow he ended up making all the wrong choices and turned down leading roles in movies like Hotel Rwanda, Amistad, Collateral, and many others. He even passed on the lead role in the hit movie The Last King of Scotland? According to him, he didn't want to do the part because he thought that the character was a bad guy and he wanted to stick to only playing the hero because he didn't want his fans to see him as a bad guy. Boy, bye. Well, Forrest Whitaker took the role and won an Oscar for it. If only Cuba hadn't been so obsessed with being the hero, he could have had another shiny Oscar on his shelf. As you can expect, directors got tired of his pickiness and they stopped offering him roles. To be fair, he did take responsibility for his actions and claimed that he had messed things up for himself with his diva attitude. During an interview with The Guardian, he admitted, "I had all these big directors offering me roles, and I read their scripts and said, I don't think this part is right for me. And what happens is, if you offend enough big directors, you get taken off their lists." In the same interview, he admitted that he got carried away by his Oscar, confessing, "For me, it was always about protecting the sanctity of that golden statue, because I felt I needed to show people that I can do more, I can do better." But he quickly realized that the sanctity of the golden statue ain't gonna pay the bills in expensive LA, so he finally decided to get over his pickiness and take any role he could get his hands on because he badly needed some cash. That was too late for him because the offers weren't exactly coming anymore. Most of the movies he got involved in were mid at best. His performances were mediocre, so even though he had some work, he was still struggling to regain his footing. Then a silver lining came in 2016 when he landed the lead role of O.J. Simpson in the limited series American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. Things were looking up once again. He even received an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries or movie, and his career was on the rise. Again, just as he started to climb out of the Hollywood blacklist that had plagued him for over a decade, things took a turn for the worse. Multiple women accused him of creepy behavior, if you catch my drift. Back in 2014, his wife of 20 years, Sarah, filed for legal separation. While she didn't explicitly disclose the reason behind their split, rumors swirled that Cuba's infidelity had pushed her to the breaking point, and that she had found out about him allegedly SA-ing other women, and she was not going to stay with a man like that. After his wife left, his inappropriate behavior escalated. Numerous women accused him of being creepy, and to this day, he has faced over 30 allegations. Yes, you heard that right, 30 different women, and those are just the ones who spoke up. We don't know how many more women there could be. One of his alleged victims exposed him, saying, "At about midnight on March 1st, Cuba Gooding Jr. waltzed into the bar we were at and proceeded to harass a number of the women there. The harassment occurred when women would be taking pictures with him. He would grab butt cheeks during the picture taking, and when women reacted negatively to that, he would proceed to either touch women's breasts or tell them that he loved them." There's even a video that shows him touching a woman's chest without her consent in a bar or similar setting. Chile, even Stevie Wonder can tell that she did not approve of his advances, and it wasn't surprising that she came forward to accuse him shortly after. Then another woman came forward to claim that Cuba had SA'd her in 2013. She claimed that they had met at a hotel in Soho, where he invited her for a drink. While they were having drinks, she claimed that Cuba told her that he needed to change his clothes in his room, and he invited her to come up to his room. She claimed that once they got to the room, he allegedly SA'd her. He was arrested for this crime in 2019. You probably remember the video of him getting arrested because it went viral and quickly turned into a trending meme on social media.
There is income.
But that was not the only lawsuit that he faced, because he also resolved another criminal case in Manhattan without going to trial, pleading guilty to a single charge of harassment stemming from an accusation of kissing a woman without her consent. There was also another case where the woman accused Cuba of battery, assault, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress ended with a judge ordering him to pay $80,000 in compensatory damages to the plaintiff, Natasha Ashworth. In early 2022, he struck a plea deal to avoid prison time for the Soho SA, pleading guilty to a reduced charge. Cuba's lawyer attempted to defend his behavior, saying, "He's very, very outgoing, he's very friendly, he's very jovial. I guess the word is, sometimes he's frisky, but he's not inappropriate. He respects women. I've known him for over 30 years, never been charged or convicted of any crimes. I don't think it's going to create any pattern or affect his case." Well, just before the trial was scheduled to start, it was announced that Cuba and the woman had decided to settle out of court to avoid a trial that would prove to be messy for them. So when I say that Cuba has as many SA allegations as Diddy, I'm not joking. But according to Young Miami, not only did Cuba allegedly take part in FreakOffs with Diddy, but he allegedly also helped Diddy plan the FreakOffs as well. Whether he did it because he's freaky like that, or he did it because he thinks that Diddy can help him get his career back, we don't know for sure. But what we know is that Cuba loves him some lil freaky stuff. Miami has been snitching hard on Diddy since she got dragged into Diddy's RICO case, all thanks to Lil Rod's lawsuit where he claimed that Young Miami was allegedly involved in some shady stuff with Diddy. Lil Rod claimed that Young Miami allegedly used to transport nose candy for Diddy for his use. According to the court documents, plaintiff and the Combs RICO enterprise were rehearsing for something in the Westival in Virginia, the court filing reads. Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs do a few lines of coke in his dressing room. Defendant Sean Combs wanted Tucci, but Brendan forgot it, so defendant Christina Coram called Young Miami, who then brought it on the private jet from Miami. He also claimed that Miami used to work as an S worker for Diddy in exchange for monthly payments. The court documents said Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee, work as Mr. Combs' S workers, and received payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlined defendant's ongoing criminal operation. Yeah, this made Miami look really bad because even though she had gone over and beyond to distance herself from Diddy, people still associate her with Diddy. To make it even worse for her, Diddy had stopped her monthly sugar baby payments. According to a source, Diddy is no longer paying Young Miami's bills. The friend told us that Diddy had been paying for private flights, shopping sprees, and rent for a luxury Miami penthouse. Now Diddy has cut those expenses. Diddy still bought Young Miami a Christmas gift, but he's not as generous as he once was. The source continued. Diddy is not in a good place mentally either. He can really use someone like Carisha in his life. She really does care about him, not just his money, but the money is important, yes, so he has to start paying again if he wants her companionship. So between him not paying her and her reputation taking a hit because of him, Miami does not have any bit of loyalty left for Diddy, and she is throwing him under the bus to save herself and her reputation. And one of the first things she's doing is talking about Diddy's FreakOffs and claiming that Cuba allegedly helped him plan it. See, if there is one person who has all the tea on the FreakOffs, it's Miami, because she is believed to have taken part in the FreakOffs, allegedly. I mean, she even threatened Diddy's other side piece, Gina Huyn, with a freak off. She tweeted, "If I wanted you to eat my pee, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You a eater. Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eat P and D when he feel like it. You a eater. You the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby, poor sushi." Well, she is now claiming that Lil Rod is not Cuba's first victim because he allegedly did it to other people too. Miami claimed that Cuba allegedly helped Diddy set up for the FreakOffs, including getting the alcohol, finding the right location, and all that stuff. Girl, when I tell y'all that this is one hot stanking mess. Interestingly, Cuba is the only person who has been with Diddy through this mess. I mean, every one of his friends has abandoned him, from Jay-Z to Young Miami. Everyone has left his side except Cuba Gooding. After Diddy's houses were raided by Homeland Security, he was believed to have fled the country, but he was later found in Florida at Miami International Airport. Y'all wanna guess who was spotted in South Beach, Miami over Easter weekend? Yup, Cuba Gooding, that's who. What are the odds that Diddy is holding up in Miami, and then Cuba somehow ends up in Miami at the same time? Yeah, right. TMZ posted a photo of Cuba cruising around South Beach on the back of a golf cart, and it looked like he was having the time of his life. While we didn't see him with Diddy, we know that Diddy is in Miami because he has been spotted out and about in Miami, so we know that he's also in Miami. And like they say, coincidence is BS. As it turns out, multiple people in the industry have been giving Cuba and Diddy's relationship the side eye because they have always found it weird. Reggie Wright Jr. is one of the celebs who talked about the situation. While he didn't exactly come out to say that he completely believed Young Miami's allegations of Cuba helping Diddy to plan the FreakOffs, he didn't exactly throw out the possibility. He mentioned that if the allegations about them were true, he could see it happening, particularly referencing the photo of Cuba trying to force himself on Lil Rod in the studio, and he referred to Lil Rod and Cuba hugging in the studio, which he described as appearing zesty.
That picture that they have, that he supplied to him with them hugging, it did look awfully zesty, huh? Yeah, I saw that particular interview or statement. That picture of Little Rod and Mr. Cuban Gooding hugging in the studio. If Cuban wasn't drunk that particular day, then yeah, man. But, you know, guys from Hollywood is weird.
He went on to talk about how shady the industry is and how a lot of wild things happen in the industry.
Y'all been hearing about it. Y'all come over here to Bomb First. I've been telling y'all about them. Which one of them, you know, other than like Cuba or Denzel or stuff like that, haven't we heard this gay smut stuff on? They all got some baggage. I mean, my boy Terry Crews saying how he let a man. Ain't nobody gonna let a man grab on your nuts unless you done heard that it happened before.
Chila, this is One Hot Minute, and people left comments saying, Cuba Gooding Jr. is that creep who always asks where his hug is at and tries to separate you from your friends when you're out. What an absolute pause. Not surprised that Cuba Gooding Jr. is a creep. He played his character Radio too damn well. Always knew something had to be up with him. And I absolutely believe it because Cuba Gooding Jr. is involved. That man is a malicious wild animal. But y'all, let me know how you feel about this situation in the comments below and then check out this next video.